Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Digital Service Squad webinar, Selling on Facebook. My name is Ben Frisch, the team lead for the South Georgian Bay Digital Service Squad, and I'm joined by Rochelle Reynolds from our squad as well. And our topic today is selling on Facebook. Yeah, it's exciting. It's fun. And can you see me, Rochelle? Give me a thumbs up. I can't see myself, so I'm just making sure.
I can see.
Yeah, okay. And you can see my screen all right? Perfect. Okay. So before we jump into that topic, just a quick reminder or shout out that here in South Georgian Bay, the Digital Service Squad, as part of the Digital Main Street program, it is managed by the Small Business Enterprise Center here in Collingwood, and we have received additional support from the County of Simcoe, the Town of Collingwood, and the Town of Blue Mountains. So just a big shout out to those partners, and a thank you to supporting us and keeping this program going, and these supports and webinars. And your Digital Service Squad, as a reminder, is around to help with things just like this, setting up Facebook shop. As a matter of fact, I was in a consult just yesterday, troubleshooting some of the many pitfalls that arise out of setting up a Facebook shop. And that's what we're here for. So if you have any questions, excuse me, feel free to put them in the chat. But for any of those, if you need help more of a one-on-one session, we can set that up. All the links will be at the end of this document. So moving right along, we are talking about selling on Facebook, and just as an overview, we're going to talk about not just Facebook shop. That's kind of an obvious one. We're going to spend a lot of time on that, but I also want to cover off more, I guess, traditional ways of selling on Facebook, or just your options when it comes to selling any products or services. What are the options that you have available to you? And so we're going to talk about some of those, and some free ones, obviously, being content posts or marketplace, as well as advertising, directly spending money to push ads out to even broaden your audience on Facebook. So when it comes to content posts, as I said, it's free. There's one major bonus there. And when it comes to popular forms of content, I think it's important to focus on professional photos. Try not to get too wordy kind of thing. Lots of graphics and thumbnails and text all over your ad can scream advertisement, and people tend to scroll on past. Whereas if it's a photo with a lengthy or engaging kind of description, that's going to help a lot more. Demonstration videos, testimonials, these kinds of things can be a lot more engaging to people as well. I find testimonials less these days. Demonstration videos, something without audio, oftentimes gets more reaction, more views, because of the nature of Facebook. Just videos without sound tend to do a lot better, that you can even read and follow along with. That's always a bonus. Remember the 80-20 rule. That's important when it comes to content posts. 20% being salesy posts and 80% being focused more on just general interesting content. That's kind of the rule of thumb that we use, that the internet uses, I find. When it comes to social media, it's about being social, trying to connect with people, and not just be selling to them all the time. And so, Rochelle has done amazing buzzworthy content, webinars. So, you know, when it comes to like that 80%, think about some of the things that she might have talked about, or you can check out that webinar. And, you know, you can pull stuff from like community engagement that you're doing just behind the scenes, tell stories about who you are. I think that's really important. When it comes to video, I always like to point out and tell people, remind people that shorter is not always better. As a video producer, I know like I've been getting clients come to me a lot asking for shorter and shorter and shorter videos. You know, they say, and they always say, everyone's attention span is so short. You know, let's do it 15 seconds. As a content piece, longer is better. And Facebook agrees, because when you upload a video, they actually tell you that that at least 3 minutes is recommended for content videos. They'll get more views the longer they are, which is kind of contradictory to what a lot of people believe. But when you think about it, like we're a society that invented the term binge watching. So if we like it, we will watch it and we will put in the time. So just a friendly reminder that shorter is not always better. And then when you're posting to your page, be sure to ask for likes, shares, comments. Be sure to share that content on your own personal page, on any groups that you belong to, because it's not going to get out to a broad audience without that interaction, without that exposure that that you can definitely provide momentum for that. And sometimes it's just as simple as asking. So as I said, we're going to graze over these kind of non-Facebook shop topics. But just again, to cover off some of your options. So when it comes to paid advertising for products or services, you can definitely go this avenue for selling products or services. And there are a couple of options there. Here are a couple of things that I would definitely recommend. And that is, one, set your budget. You know, it's really easy to either overspend or not spend enough, and then really lose sight of you know, how well this performed. But definitely, like, setting a timeline and setting especially a goal will help keep things into perspective when it comes to running this advertising campaign. You know, if you have a goal in mind of how many bookings you want to make or how many things you want to sell, that's going to really keep you on track. It's going to help you determine how much you should be spending as well, because, you know, everyone always asks, like, what's a good budget amount for spending, or, you know, an advertising campaign on Facebook? Well, I mean, it depends on so many factors, but I mean, the main thing is like, what is your profit margin? Are you selling something worth $5, or are you selling something worth $10,000? Because, like, you know, if you think about it, if you put money towards a $10,000 ad, like, you should technically have a little bit of more budget or threshold to spend more if the payout is going to be $10,000. Whereas if it's a $5 item, you're going to want to keep that spend as low as possible within your you know, comfortable budget amount. So it all kind of comes into context. You know, take that into context when you're setting up your budget, as well as your Facebook pixel. You also want to set up a Facebook pixel, especially when it comes to selling products or services. and I'll tell you why in a second. When it comes to running ads on Facebook, specifically for sales, you've got essentially 3 options that are really designed for selling, and that is conversions. So there's main conversion ads, and that's where the pixel comes into play, because when you set up the Facebook pixel, it is going to provide Facebook with the information that they need to determine whether or not the person who clicked through, did they complete a sale or not, right? So the pixel is a key component to a conversion campaign. Again, something that the Digital Service Squad can help you set up. And so, yeah, so these are the 3 options: conversions, and this helps show your ads to the people who are most likely to take action, like buying something or calling you from your website. And yeah, so that conversion, the conversion action from the pixel could be clicking the buy button, book now button, making, or I guess the call now button would be making that phone call. Whatever action that you want to take them to take, you can set it up in the pixel and have that recorded. Catalog sales. So we're going to talk about Facebook Shop, and but when it comes to advertising your shop, here's a way to push those products out by using your target audience to show people ads, use your target audience to show people ads with items from your catalog. And there's some cool ads that you can run there, like using specific products, maybe if you have something on sale, or you can set up a dynamic ad that allows Facebook to kind of pick and choose the product to put in front of this particular individual based on what they know about them. So it's kind of cool. It's relying on a lot of that, all that information that Facebook knows about us for marketers, for you to sell things. When it comes to store traffic, there's another option there for your advertising, and that will allow you to show your ad to people most likely to visit your physical stores when they're near them. So they say it is ideal for multiple locations, and if you only have one location, they recommend using reach, which is more of a brand awareness kind of approach, but you can geo-target, in your vicinity to help bring people in, hopefully. So that is what you have available in terms of advertising options for sales. Now, let's talk about Marketplace. There's not much to say about it, but it is an option. And I say, that there's not much to say about it because, in my opinion, it's not necessarily ideal for business owners selling new products, right? Because shoppers there in that environment are looking for deals. They love to haggle, and they're not usually willing to pay a premium or like full price for things that they're looking for. And that's just because of the environment that they're in, right? It's a marketplace. It's like just a bargain bin of used goods, right? So, but within that environment, there still is some opportunity. So just a couple of thoughts there, like it can work potentially for used car dealerships. Not potentially, I mean, they do very well, I think, on Marketplace right now. I've seen a lot of like trendy products. So these can be like, usually like cheap electronics, but that are really, really trendy, of high interest to people, as well as real estate rentals. There's a lot of that happening. And And one thing to mention too, as a environment for retargeting, there could also be some other options or some opportunity there where, going back to the Facebook pixel, when creating ads in Facebook, you can target people who have just those who have been on your website previously based on the tracking pixel. And so there's a bit of opportunity there potentially with retargeting people who have been on your website. If they're in Marketplace, they're potentially just kind of in that shopping mode, and perhaps an ad reminding them of something that they were already looking at will kind of bring them back to your website to make a purchase. It's a bit far-fetched, but it's a slight opportunity there that could be worth exploring. Any thoughts and anything I'm missing there, Rochelle? Anything to add?
No, I think it's really good that you're touching on Marketplace, because it really is it's caught on a lot, especially in very, very recent years. And I found it really interesting watching how it has developed, because I remember when Marketplace first emerged, I don't know, I just thought it was like a very suspicious part of the Facebook platform. Like, I was not encouraged by what I was seeing. It just seemed like, oh my goodness, there's a lot of just people trying to get rid of things very, very quickly on here, and that's how it felt. But I've seen legitimate merchants and retailers really embrace it and start to use it in quite interesting ways. And like, you can run legitimate ad campaigns through Marketplace, and they do very well, right? Like, I think it you really hit it home with the trendy products thing. Like, that is where Marketplace is really coming into its own. Like, when sourdough was a thing, that's where you would go to find all your sourdough stuff, right? And I think that's really quite cool, and it's legitimized that part of the Facebook platform.
True, yeah. But and I say that, like, it's not ideal for most, because like even a lot of especially like antique dealers that I've spoken to, who are looking to sell curated items at a premium, they get really frustrated, I've noticed, with Marketplace as a platform, just because, again, that audience is looking to haggle, looking for a deal, and not necessarily looking for that premium. So yeah, it definitely depends on the industry you're in, the products that you're using, but it is definitely something to not to be ignored, for sure, right? Cool. Okay, so moving right along. All right, so this is maybe why you signed on to talk about Facebook Shop. It is sort of the newest option when it comes to selling goods on Facebook. And in a nutshell, your Facebook Shop is a unique space for you to sell products on Facebook, Instagram, or both. On Facebook, you will find it in the main menu. And I always want to remind people that you can rearrange that menu on your page. So your Facebook page, the menu at the top, if you have a shop and it's important to sell goods for you, which it probably is, you can rearrange it, put that shop right near the front of the menu so that it's more prominent, and it'll get seen by more people, which is important. So you can actually, there's a shop builder. We'll look at it in a second, just really briefly. But you can create collections to help customers browse your inventory. You can also change the appearance of your shop to fit your branding. And yeah, it's not a bad platform. Definitely some, as I said, there are some pitfalls when setting it up, and we're going to try and look at some of that too. But really, what you need is a Facebook account and a business page to get started. If you don't have an e-commerce website that's separate from Facebook, there is the opportunity to upload individual products for sale and set it up such that people will message you much like they do on Marketplace, just arrange payment details through Messenger. You have the option to do the same through your Facebook shop. If you do have an e-commerce site, you can connect the two and have people go to the product page and just check out on your website. Now there is also an option of a Facebook checkout and Instagram checkout that is coming. I don't know if it's an option yet. Sorry, the deliveries always come during webinar time, and that's when the dog goes off on the delivery guys. So let's talk about getting started with Facebook Shop. Okay. Okay, let's talk about getting started with Facebook Shop. I'm going to kind of walk you through really basic setup here. And again, I can't stress enough, book a consult with your digital service squad. We can troubleshoot because there are a lot of ways that this can go wrong. And I'll kind of explain and hopefully guide you towards how to avoid some of those problems. But the first thing you're going to do is log into your Business Suite account. So if you don't have a Business Suite account yet, again, that might be a conversation with your squad. We can help you get set up with that. But most businesses, you will have a Business Suite account. It's business.facebook.com. Now, you also want to make sure you have the correct business profile selected. A lot of us have many different pages. We've got, for all the multiple businesses that we run or manage, so that's where we want to make sure that we're in the business profile for the one that we want to create a storefront for. There's a tools menu. We're going to select Commerce Manager from that. And that's going to bring us to the screen that you see here. If you don't have a shop set up, that's what it's going to look like. If you do have one, it'll be listed there with the catalogs there as well. So you're going to hit that Add Shop button right there. And that's going to get you started. So the things that it's going to ask you to initiate that is to choose your checkout method. As I mentioned, there's Messenger, there's website. Again, I think it depends still on what region you're in for the in-app checkout. I don't believe that's available yet, but I definitely recommend checkout on your website. So it's certainly better if you have an e-commerce platform separate and drive people to that to check out. It's just, I think it's more professional. It's a really good approach. You're going to choose the sales channels. So basically what page or Instagram account that you want this shop associated with. Now, a point about that is that I found this happens a lot where people try to set up a shop, they have problems, and they start the process over again, creating a whole new shop and a whole new catalog, and they're unable to assign it to the page and Instagram account that they want. And it's usually, as always, because the previous one that they created is already assigned to that account, and you can't have multiple shops assigned to multiple or to the same page. So you got to delete those original ones. So that's just a one pitfall to avoid there. Then you're going to create a catalog, and really it's just name it. And that's where, again, I recommend naming it something specific. so that if you do get in the situation of multiple catalogs and you're not sure, name it something specific that you'll remember. Okay, that's the one that is connected and has all the elements set up properly, and then you can go back and delete the other ones. You're going to agree to the seller agreement and hit that finish setup button. And so that's really the easy part, because then when you have items to add to your shop, so there are multiple ways to do this. The best way, again, if you have an e-commerce platform, which I assume most of you might, you can connect the two, your Facebook shop and your e-commerce platform, such that the inventory that you have on your e-commerce site will feed right into your Facebook shop. All the information's there, all of the inventory is there, and you don't have to do anything more. And it's actually fantastic when it works, or if you can get it set up. So, so that's where, yeah, so we're talking about adding items and connecting data sources. And that's the way, like, that's the terminology that Facebook uses, data sources being the information from your e-commerce platform with all that inventory data. And so here on this screen, you'll see there's different ways to do that manually. There's data feed and there's pixel. I've yet to have a successful pixel data feed connection. So I'm not sure what that's about. But what I'll say about this too is that, so the consult that I had yesterday working with a client, they had a Wix website. And the process of connecting the two was through a data feed where Wix on that end of the system, so you go into your Wix account, there's sort of a step-by-step instructions from their end to make that connection. And essentially it was, they provide you with a web address for that data feed. Over on the Facebook side right here, where on this particular screen that you see under data sources, data feed, you're going to schedule a data feed and they're going to ask you for that website address. And what's cool about it too, so by scheduling it, you can tell Facebook when you want that information updated. So if you're selling a lot of products, quickly, you might have it update every hour kind of thing, right? So that it syncs up that data every hour, every day. Or if you only have a couple of products and the information is maybe not changing that often, you might do it once a day kind of thing, every 24 hours. So you can kind of pick when you want that information to sync up and schedule it. And once it's connected, then you are good to go. Now, so that's Wix. Definitely a lot easier when it comes to commerce partners that Facebook has. I don't have a lot of experience with most of them, but definitely Shopify is a big one. So a lot of our clients, a lot of people in the area use Shopify as their e-commerce platform of choice, or WooCommerce too. Yeah, the setup process is mostly within the Shopify environment. And I suspect similarly with any of these other partners, where you basically just through Shopify's backend system, you log into your Facebook and it will just kind of burrow down that, that path of selecting your business profile, selecting your page, selecting your Instagram account, then your shop and your commerce, your commerce manager account, your shop, and your catalog. That is essentially the funnel that happens, that burrows down to then make that connection, and it will just dump all of the inventory data right into that particular catalog. And again, when it works, it's fantastic. But we have run into some issues from time to time that can make that difficult. But I'll come back to some of those pitfalls, if you will, in a moment. So once we've got all of our data fed into our Facebook shop, I don't know, I might have skipped over just briefly though, actually, is that uploading products individually is an option as well. And it's quite simple. You just upload a photo, add a name, the price, the currency, and you can do like a whole bunch at once, and just get it done. So if you have a handful of products, that's not a bad way to do it either. But certainly if you have a large inventory, the data connection is the best option for you, for sure. And so that, again, you don't have to deal with it ever again. As long as the connection is stays up and is functioning, then you're good to go. Okay, so when it comes, now we've got a shop set up, we've got our catalog, we've got items in the catalog. You can see I have just one on mine there. This is my sample digital service squad shop that is not live, by the way. It's just a dummy account. But just doing that process does not mean that your shop is visible to anybody. What we need to do then is customize the shop, and we need to publish it so that it will be visible to viewers on your Facebook page. And you know what, I'm going to just also point out that while Instagram is a big component of this, we're going to cover off more specifics on Instagram. We've got a webinar coming up on selling on Instagram in a couple weeks. So check out our Small Business Enterprise Center calendar for that if you're really eager to get your Instagram shop set up. But I mean, this process is exactly the same. What we'll cover there is a little bit more of the details of like, there's some more intricacies of tagging products and things like that. So right now, just focusing on Facebook. So we're going to make this live. So we're going to customize our shop. And we've got one product there. It's a pretty sweet hat. And you can customize your shop. So it brings you into this whole other environment where it's giving you a preview of what your shop looks like. And you can switch between what it looks like on Facebook and what it looks like on Instagram. And you're going to set up the layout of that shop. That being, so on the left-hand side, we've got featured. So we've got dynamic products. We can add collections, a grid of products from a collection. And so what you'll see is just these different, a variety of, different collections and things that are kind of stacked on top of each other in this feed, so that it gives people an option to scroll around and look at different things, and you can customize that. There's like the dynamic one will just keep switching based on, I think, a variety of different factors. I think just like the person's interests or what Facebook thinks they might like, perhaps. But yeah, so you want to set that up, get it customized. But just note that you won't be able to publish until the commerce account is approved. So I wasn't able to do this just because I had like only just created the account. It might take like a day or two before that gets fully approved. So just keep that in mind. But then, yeah, once you hit that publish button, then you're good to go. Your shop is live on your Facebook page, on your Instagram account. Again, you want to make sure that that button is prominent within your Facebook page. So customize that, move it to the top. But let's talk about troubleshooting and what can go wrong. So taking a big step back, you know, I've noticed working with a lot of businesses that while the business suite account exists, most don't actually use it, like, or use it in the way that Facebook sort of hoped or intended that it would be used. You know, it often is just sort of created in the background because I think by default, when you create a page on Facebook, it creates a business account and it starts assigning assets, whether you know or not. And so, so this is where we can, I think, really try and prevent a lot of problems from happening when we, and not even problems, but even just confusion when setting up that Facebook shop. So what I mean by that is, like when I'm troubleshooting with anyone on the Facebook shop, the first thing I always do is come into business settings of your business suite account. And what we're looking for is like a bunch of things. So we're going to look for making sure that we're in the right business account. So here I'm on the Digital Service Squad business account. So I want to make sure that the right pages are associated with this account, right? All the right pages that I intend to be associated with it are. The Instagram account is connected. I want to look at data sources to make sure that, you know, if I created a commerce account and then a catalog, that is associated with this business. Because if I look in data sources and then under catalogs and I don't see anything when I just created it, that is a big problem, red flag that I've probably created it under a different business profile, which is a very common thing. Like, don't feel bad if this happens to you, because it seems more common than not. Brand safety is an area that you always want to look at too. Something that Facebook introduced not that long ago is verifying domains. So you're going to want to make sure that under brand safety and then domains, that you've verified your domain. And again, this, I mean, that won't necessarily prevent your shop from going live, but it can, it might actually. It's going to help prevent them shutting you down because they think that you're up to something that you shouldn't be. You know, by giving Facebook just all of the information that they request and require, it's just going to appease them and make your life a lot easier when setting this up. So yeah, so make sure you verify that domain. There's a couple of steps you have to kind of jump through. It can be a slightly technical process. But again, Digital Service Squad, we can help you, walk you through that process, how to do it. There is like a step-by-step how to do it, but a lot of people run into trouble with that as well. The last thing to point out is the business info down at the bottom of that menu. Again, most people don't even look at this information. They've never even been in this area of their business suite account. But what Facebook is asking for in that area is like legal business name, contact information, and an email for the account. Because when you think about it, like when you set up a business page, they don't actually, I mean, they ask for like business info, but they're not really asking for, you know, professional, like your contact information. If something goes wrong, if something's not right, this is where you put that. And this is where you can verify that to, again, just kind of appease them and make sure that they know you're a real person, a legitimate business, and and there's an email, so you can add your email and verify it. Just really quickly, it'll send you a verification link, click on that, and you're done. So it can be complicated. It can send you all these little things will definitely help. Will definitely help you, avoid trouble moving forward. The last thing actually I want to say about that business info section that trips people up sometimes is that there is a section that says, and for everyone, it will say this is an unverified business. So don't get worried about that part. So there is an additional, like, really intense, or not really intense, but I mean just more involved verification process that you can go through as a business to get verified, but it's not necessary for this purpose. So I usually recommend it to a business that might have run into a lot of like ad account problems. If they're selling, so here's an example. A company is selling kombucha that is it's non-alcoholic, but technically it kind of is, or like, and a lot of the terminology they use can get confused with an alcoholic beverage, right? So it's just like this weird area of Facebook is getting confused about the product, thinking that it is violating their terms of service. So, and that happens actually quite a lot. So if you find that and what they'll do is they'll shut off your ad account completely. And so you can reactivate that ad account, no problem. It might be down for a while, might take a couple of weeks. But if you find that happening frequently, then that's the type of business that I might recommend. Hey, if you go through this verification process, then it might happen less frequently. So just that's something to consider about that, and just like a point of note for that verification process. And again, if you're still having problems, you can always connect with your digital service squad, and we can troubleshoot and look at what might be the problem, of what issues you might be missing, or what steps might be missed, and help figure it out. And that is Facebook Shop in a very quick nutshell. And at this point, we will throw it out to questions. Are there any questions that anyone has for Rochelle? Anything that you wanted to add?
Yeah, just going back to the verified business stuff and all that. So it is also important to note, I hope that by now Facebook has sorted it out, but I remember not too long ago, like back in sort of the winter, spring of 2021, like I guess there were just so many people opening so many ad accounts and setting up shops and stuff that basically like the whole thing kind of got overloaded, and people were experiencing a ton of problems and having their shops denied or flagged as inappropriate or whatever, and in some cases their ad accounts were shut down and everything. So just know that, like, if it's happening to you, it's not necessarily a unique problem, and not that that's encouraging or helpful if it's happening, because it doesn't, obviously it's not great if you're just trying to get your knickknacks up for sale or or whatever. But just know that, like, it kind of comes with the territory. I think it's because there are just so many like bots and crawlers and stuff that are helping out with verifying shops and stuff, versus like lots of real people doing it and verifying it in real time, sort of thing. So yeah, you can help yourself out with that by being very diligent in those early stages and ensuring that, like Ben went over in great detail, like make sure that the right accounts are connected and that, your website domain is verified and all that sort of stuff, right? Like the more that you can be, proactive in that and very careful in those early stages, the far more likely it is that the rest of getting your shop up and running will be a smooth process.
Yeah, actually, to that point, like what's incredibly frustrating about it, is that like there are, at no point do they actually tell you that they require any of this information or that any of these things are preventing other things from happening. You'll very rarely get that information, of how to fix this problem. I think the only one that I can think of is like the having having a catalog that's already connected to a Facebook and Instagram account. That's like one of the only places where you will get that notice that says like, essentially here's how you need to fix that. Like it's already connected to a catalog. But everything else is like no explanation, just vague as vague can be. And so, yeah, that's where like taking those initial steps to just make sure that business account is set up properly, that they have all the information that they require, it's going to make that process a lot more smooth. Sweet. Well, thanks everyone for joining us today. Hope you found that helpful, and I hope that you feel free to connect with our digital service squad for any of your digital marketing needs. We are here until the end of February 2022. So definitely make those bookings and reach out to us at any time. Plus, there is a $2,500 grant for qualifying businesses. I probably should have mentioned that off the top instead of leaving it to the end. But yeah, that is one of our main focuses right now, is promoting that $2,500 Digital Main Street grant. So connect with us if you have questions about that, and anything else that you need. And the next webinar coming up is deciphering an SEO report. Really excited about that, coming up on October 20th. It's another Wednesday, 10 a.m. Registration is free. Check out the enterprisecenter.ca/events, but you can get the link there to register for that next event. So thanks again, everyone, for joining us. Thank you, Rochelle, for providing some backup, and we'll see you next time. Have a great rest of your day, everyone.